show's over the moon. Oh, and you've been to 30 games this year?
Yeah.
That's a lot of baseball games, Tony.
And I feel bad because I felt like I went to more, but there are a couple that I didn't get my check-in on. I've had some good friends give me some good seats, and I didn't check in on my app then. But
outside of tickets, you've probably spent. I know you have the pass.
Well, on beatboxes alone, I don't have a beatbox pass.
I saw those in the drive-thru over the weekend.
Well,
I was thinking about trying one.
Much. At the drive-thru, they're very affordable.
Oh, how much are they at the drive-thru? Would you think?
They're like $4.50.
$4.50.
In the ballpark, they're almost quadruple.
Oh, wow.
My sister in Chicago was at Riot Fest, and she was talking about the beatboxes. She had one and said the one had her tipsy for hours.
Really?
They do a lot of good work for you.
Well, you said it's 11%, so it's basically like a glass of wine. Wouldn't it be like that?
It's like a box of. I don't know why like ICP doesn't team up with them, because that's what I think of. It's very Gatorade with a little kick behind it, some sort of sports drink.
I don't know why ICP doesn't team up with them.
It feels like an ICP thing to me. And I don't care. I will paint my face and watch the team.
But it's like 3 wine glasses, right? Like the amount of fluid ounces and the alcohol content. It's almost a bottle of wine.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's what you call a good time at the ballpark.
216-474-0092.
And I did get a few people sending me their beatbox pictures last night.
I did see it on social media yesterday.
Keep sending them.
That was what was great about last night, the communal feel. Like, we get that all the time. Every Browns game, in every town, every NFL town.
We all show up at 1 p.m. on Sunday and do the same.
But in baseball, how many of those do you get a year? Opening day, okay. Right. And then the playoff games.
Right.
Well, last night, and we've talked about how many of these felt like a playoff game, but last night, everybody was dialed in. There's no way, even the guy that we gave a hard time to, that guy was dialed in. Come on.
It was not Monday, so you didn't have a Monday night football game, even because if there's two teams that you don't even care about on Monday night football, some people are choosing that.
Because it takes away the gamblers and the fantasy.
Yes.
But
you had everybody last night.
But last night, not only were people monitoring, they were watching. In the 6th inning, the amount of texts that I got about all-time bizarre inning. First of all, the roller coaster of emotions, right? Because you're getting things started. You're Quan, and you start to feel the pressure building, and then when the unfortunate thing happens with Fry, now everybody is like, what does this mean for him? All right, now if this team just goes on to lose yesterday, it's like that sucked the energy out of the entire stadium. People are going to be mad at Scooble, even though he clearly did not do that intentionally. Like, we all understand from just a human standpoint. An immediate
remorseful reaction to it, right through the glove down, hands in the face.
But it impacted him so much that God, I hate to say it helped us. I mean, there's no doubt it helped us. That's not how we wanted to go about business.
I mean, when you're committing a balk, which is, again, I think it's a hard thing to do, because I don't know if anybody actually knows what a balk is. It's just something that exists. It's like write-offs in Seinfeld.
I'll tell you, I can spot a balk on an 11-year-old pitcher. It's very hard on a major league pitcher.
Yeah, that's so true.
To tell where a balk is. So there's going to be a lot of people that go, I can tell.
In Little League, you're like, was he attempting a jump shot?
Can I just ask you something? Like, I've never done travel baseball, and I never will, right?
Why is that, Ken?
There were multiple reasons. He's still got to go to school, so I'll tell you another time. Are you a guy, real quick before we get to the Browns, are you a guy who calls out balks at the game?
Well, I coach first base, so I have to go balk. I don't do it loud, but especially if the ump's near me, I'll go balk. Now, normally they're not near me when there's a balk that matters.
So I've done first base too, and I will see with something which is like, I don't know, but I'm like, that's clearly. It looks weird. And I don't want to say anything because I'm just like, I think everybody in the vicinity would be like, come on.
Now, there are times like, so we were still at a level this last season where it was like you get one freebie.
Yeah.
Next year, I think you don't get any freebies. But like this year, so after the pitch, I'd be like, oh, hey, I think that was a balk.
See,
go ahead and get the freebie out of
that part. You should always get at least one freebie. I don't care if it's 11-year-olds or Charlie Huff. I think you should get a freebie and just go, hey, you got to come set. Usually it's the come and set thing. That seems to be the problem. You'll know all this.
Or
the whole
shoulder
purpose.
tipping, too, when you look back at first.
That too.
The whole purpose is deception on the hitter, but in Little League, like, you're ready for anything.
Nobody is intentionally balking in Little League. It just happens.
I'm just glad they know which way to look sometimes in Little League, because it had been a struggle for some years.
I have never seen a Little Leaguer take a baseball and say it's 4th and 15, we're kicking the field goal, I'm going to launch this baseball into right field. Never seen it. And I've watched a lot of Little League games.
We go around the AFC North coming up at 8 o'clock. So I want to get back to the Guardians coming up here in a bit. However, you think that there could be a change during the game on Sunday?
I do.
Tell me why. Because I don't. I think that if Joe, unless there's an injury, obviously, I think if you have Joe start, Joe plays the entire game. I don't know if I want to put Dillon Gabriel in harm's way and make a replacement during the football game. As bad as Joe, and Joe's been rough, as bad as Joe has been, I don't think I want to make some sort of replacement during the game. I think that once he plays, he finishes the entire game. And if he goes out there and he finishes the entire game in the garbage, then we'll talk about it afterwards.
But you do admit, like, we're close then. We're just disagreeing on half.
I said I'm game by game.
Yeah.
Because, listen, you're 1-2. So, like, the Giants, they just made their move to Jackson Dart. Yeah, you're 0-3. Your season's over. The Browns, they're holding on to 1-2. I don't think there's a lot of fans out there who believe that the Browns are going to the playoffs. The guys in the locker room do. So now they're focused on trying to beat the Lions on Sunday. So you're not making a move right now. But if you go 1-3, yeah, like, let's have that conversation. Because at 1-3 at the end of September, it's going to be hard. It's going to be real hard. Now, there's a couple teams in your division who might have made it easier for you to try to stick around and see that. But again, it's going to be really hard. So I don't know if you make this change, and this is a tough thing to do. Do you make the change in the spirit of trying to win football games, or do you make the change in the spirit of trying to see what you have in this guy before you move on? Like, that is a conversation I'm not ready to answer to yet. I want to see where they go on it. But I'm just thinking, hey, you're starting the 40-year-old for a reason. It's to keep the veterans with it. If you go out there and he sucks again, because he's been bad 2 out of 3 games now, if he goes out there and he sucks again, then I think we have to have that discussion getting ready for it, even though that game would be in London. I don't want to just start Joe Flacco in London because it's 7 hours away across a continent. I want to make sure that Dillon Gabriel is ready to go if he's ready to go. But I just don't think that unless he's injured, which, God, I hope nothing happens like that, I'm just playing Joe for the entire game. Like, he has to be just astoundingly, terribly bad for us to make a decision like that during the game.
This might be totally leaning on just everything. When they were 0-2, and let's face it, most of us just assumed they were going 0-3 and losing to Green Bay. Were you not hearing things from, like, sources, but were you not hearing a conversation start to tick up about Dillon Gabriel is ready, the team believes in him, and he's the next man up, and we could be a lot closer than people think? Like, the whole thought of it's not happening for 6 weeks, like, that wasn't the thought permeating around the team anymore.
I don't think that they ever made. I don't think that they. And Kevin was careful to never make some 6-week declaration. That was something that I think we all looked at and goes, well, 6 weeks seems to make a lot of sense there. You got Miami coming in week 7. Like, 6 weeks seems to be the thing. But they never said anything like that. And I think right now you're ahead of schedule. I think we're very much week to week. And the only thing that probably saved Joe Flacco's job was the defense and special teams play on Sunday. Now, to us, anyway, I think to them, maybe they still would have played him. Because I don't know how close Dillon Gabriel really is. I need to hear how close he really is. So if they start dropping hints here and there that, hey, he's coming along faster than we thought, he's progressing nicely, they're starting to tell you that they're getting ready to make that change.
That's kind of what my feeling was.
You felt that way. And Jackson Dart's a first-round pick, but you saw that going on with the Giants.
Yeah, and the whole thing for Gabriel, like, people are like, he's played all those college games, how is he not ready? I haven't said that he's not ready. I'm sure he's ready to go play. And a lot of quarterbacks could just go play in an NFL game and have good outcomes, bad outcomes, whatever. That doesn't mean anything about their long-term development. I just don't know if he's good. Now, there's only one way to find out, obviously, and how the Browns might feel he's really good, and then they see him in real games. I thought they probably thought DTR was prepared enough to make that start against Baltimore last year, and then we saw he didn't belong. Was he
Baltimore 2 years ago?
Was he not prepared, or was he not good?
I think it was a combination of probably both. I don't think he was prepared whatsoever. I really do believe, I refused to believe it at the time, and I was wrong at the time. Well, I misled my own feelings at the time. He was not ready to go, and it really was a 10:30 a.m. surprise for him that day he went, which I thought was, and as the rant showed, I thought was really irresponsible. That you had this other guy get ready, who's supposed to be the guy getting ready, and it was a question all week, and we did nothing to get the other guy ready. Like, there's a possibility you wake up in the morning, you could be playing, and then it was this craziness. And clearly, they tried to still execute a game plan that was for Deshaun Watson, for Dorian Thompson-Robinson, which led to a bigger disaster there. And I felt he wasn't that great to begin with, but it certainly did its best to torpedo his career before it even got off the ground.
Yeah, so I look at it like, I'm sure Dillon Gabriel could come in and, get guys lined up, have the play. Although I don't. By the way, the play that Flacco did get them lined up. Like, no, I don't know if Gabriel would have been ready for that. That's a veteran. That's a I've been doing this a long time situation. If a rookie could do that, man, I'd be blown away by a rookie's poise, composure, all that stuff. That was awesome. That was the one thing Flacco, for an otherwise losing effort.
You got to know the time. You got to know everything. You got to know exactly where to go with the football. You got to have a lot of experience to be able to do that quickly. That was impressive.
Yeah, so the reason I just think if they are, and again, it has to be circumstantial, like Joe Flacco could be playing poorly in Detroit, but if it's a one-possession game, well, no, I don't think they're going to make a move to get a jolt. I also think part of it is, I think the game is being managed right now by Kevin Stefanski. I know people are seeing a lack of points getting put on the board, and they're just assuming he's not coordinating a good offense or whatever. I think part of it is he knows he doesn't have a treasure trove of receivers. And I know that also, if Joe Flacco plays the way that he's played his whole career, he's going to be turning the ball over, and they're just going to lose. If they turn the ball over against Detroit, they're just going to lose. It's a road game. They're going to lose. So managing a game is not just, well, let's just let Joe Flacco throw the ball up and down the field. Like, no, they'll lose. I mean, we all agree with that, right? Like, they have zero chance to win if he's turning the ball over. And if he's throwing the ball down the field a bunch, he's going to turn the ball over.
I wouldn't make a change in game, and I'll tell you why. Like, would you make a change in game to Dillon Gabriel if Joe Flacco sucked on Sunday? I think that you're asking a lot of Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah, if they're down 21-3, I'll just give out just for an example.
Do I want Dillon Gabriel to engineer a comeback? Like, I'll put Dillon Gabriel in garbage time. Mm-hmm. I hope it doesn't come to that. They put Dillon Gabriel in garbage time going, hey, you don't expect a comeback. If you put him in at 21-3, like in the, are you saying second quarter or something like that?
I was thinking more second half, but
I don't want to put too much on him to engineer some sort of a comeback there. So you're thinking maybe coming out of the third quarter if it's 21-3.
Yeah, and it feels like we can't move the football. Like, there's no way Joe Flacco, his lack of mobility has come crashing down on the offense.
I don't think I'd do it. I don't think I'd do it. And I'm getting a lot of Baker on this, and I'm going, Baker, first off, Tyrod Taylor got hurt in that game.
Yeah, people forget about that.
He wasn't just pulled because he was ineffective. He wasn't very effective, but he didn't just get pulled. Tyrod got hurt in that game. And Baker was number 1 overall. This is a third-round pick. And to some folks, overdrafted third-round pick. The Browns aren't going to think that, so they're going to have more confidence in the guy. So that argument actually works against me if I say overdrafted third-round pick, because the Browns certainly have confidence in the guy. But I just think it's the wrong time to put him in there. I think you'll eventually get to him. Like, Jackson Dart gets in. Jackson Dart's a first-round pick. He's a major investment. And you're not doing anything with Russell Wilson. The Russell Wilson experiment for all 32 teams should be over. He should be on a TV desk somewhere next year, and that should be the end of it. For Jackson Dart, that makes sense for the Giants. You're 0-3. The Browns are 1-2. You're still trying to keep your vets focused. You just got done yelling about how it was a team victory. I think it would be a terrible time to do so. It would start to unravel things. Because I'm trying to do a couple of things here. I want to win football games. But I also am trying to stave off, because I don't think they're going to win a lot of football games. I want to stave off an unraveling as far as as late as I possibly can. Because I got to keep everybody interested, and I can't have these guys When the Dolphins are having player-only meetings in week 2, that's a scary thing. I can't have them turn it into the fish. I can't have them do that. And you're probably close, so I wouldn't put Dillon Gabriel in halfway through this football game on Sunday. If you guys want to, fine, 216-474-0092. You just got to make me a good argument, because if you think that he's going to really engineer a comeback and win, I got to tell you, I think that's really improbable. I think that's 15 games back in the AL Central in July. Improbable. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but I think a lot of people at that time probably would have side-eyed you like we did Owen, and I think a lot of people would side-eye you if you think that Dillon Gabriel was coming in to fix everything in a game against the Lions.
The only reason
We're a good team.
The only reason I thought there was a remote possibility is because it just seemed to me there started to be some chatter last week. Oh, Dillon's ready. Dillon Gabriel's ready, meaning the team was starting to kind of put that out there, that, oh, he's ready to go. Well, if the team is saying he's ready to go, and Joe Flacco, this would now be, let's say if it's the first half, it would now be, man, they had the great drive to start out the Cincinnati game. There wasn't a whole bunch else, even though I thought Flacco, by and large, looked decent. But they didn't put a ton of points up on the board. Then Baltimore was a disaster, even though the 2 interceptions weren't his fault, but it was a disaster. And then Green Bay was a disaster offensively until the final 2.5 minutes. And Quinshon Judkins and his 2 runs were probably a bigger part of that. And then, yes, I'll give Flacco credit for the throw to Njoku that set up the game-winning field goal. So if it's another half of struggles, it's just now we're not seeing anything good. It is now a long enough stretch where it is starting to become unbelievable to think that Flacco is going to be able to turn it around and the defenses have the book on him and Stefanski's offense.
It's been an underwhelming thing with Joe. And I think that there will naturally come a time where we move on from Joe. And I don't think you're going back to Joe based on performance. I think you might go back to Joe based on injury. I think, like, once Joe goes to the bench, I do foresee a scenario. I think you guys do if you see common sense. You could see a scenario where Dillon goes in, plays week 5 against the Vikings, even in London. Plays week 5, plays week 6, plays week 7. Something not good happens week 7 or something like that, and it's Joe who goes back in, not Shador. Like, now I think it's based on who's ready, who's not ready.
I'm not sure that, only because, and maybe I've been listening to Daryl too much. Daryl says it's the point of no return. Once you go to Dillon Gabriel, that's it for Joe.
No, I don't think that that's the case. I think that Joe has lived his life now as a journeyman, as a backup. I think you can, based on injury, I think you can go back to Joe. Because if Dillon looks way over his head, then I have to question you guys going, wait a minute, why did you take him? You didn't take him because of physical characteristics. You took him because of smarts. If he looks like he's that much in over his head, that's also an indictment of the people who took Dillon Gabriel. So you got to go out there and make sure that he looks good mentally. He looks like he can conduct the offense and that they can score over maybe 20 points in a game for the first time in what seems like 18 years. Hopefully you can do something like that. But if he gets hurt, which, guys, he's not a big guy. You know there's a distinct possibility a guy who can get out and scoot, who's not a big guy, he could get hurt, and now all of a sudden you have a problem. Are you willing to just go to Shedeur Sanders because you just want to see Shedeur Sanders? I don't think the football team thinks the way that we do. Yes, I'd want to go to Shedeur Sanders because I'm curious to see him. I think the football team would go, is he ready or is he not ready? And if you can't say he's ready to go out there and try to conduct an offense, then you're going back to Joe. I don't think it's just over for Joe if you were to pull Joe. I think Joe's in there in case of emergency. Because if Dillon were to get hurt during a game, do I want the same scenario that I just argued against Dillon Gabriel? A guy who they all say knows the offense, knows plenty of offenses, is a very smart football guy, a guy who will eventually be a head coach in football. Like, do I want to take him? If I'm afraid to put him in halfway through the game, why do I want to do it with Shedeur Sanders, who Daryl just last night with Jake said they don't think he's ready whatsoever? And that was as September 23rd. That's what Daryl had said last night. 216-474-0092. Let me get to Eric in Cleveland real quick. Hello.
Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about quarterbacks and Shedeur and all these guys, but, man, our offensive line, man, we haven't shored that up and put any money really into the line. You can put Lamar Jackson and anybody back there, man. Flacco's running for his life.
Eric, they've got a lot of money tied up in the offensive line.
We had the most
right
expensive offensive line in the NFL a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, it just seems like he's running for his life, man. I mean, if you notice the last 3 games we've had, man, Joe's been running, and he runs, and he looks slow, but he doesn't have the people to block for him like that.
I gotta tell you, Eric, I thought even with the guys who were backups coming in, thank you for the call. I thought even with the guys who were backups coming in, I thought that he was protected enough to get the ball out. Either guys aren't getting open, which was happening in the Cincinnati game, or I don't think he's seeing the field. And right now, I don't think he's seeing the field. I think this is more of a Joe problem than it is an offensive line problem. Now, I wonder how long I can say that, because if KT Levinson is a guy who becomes your long-term answer for this for the rest of the season, I don't know if that's much of an answer. Same thing I have to say with Cornelius Lucas. I always want to call him Cornelius Bennett. Cornelius Lucas. Like, Cornelius Lucas is a career backup. So he's almost in a Chris Hubbard role. If I'm looking to him for a long-term answer, is it still going to be that way? As of right now, though, I got to put it on Joe.